Good morning, my friends. Welcome to today's episode of Happiness After Codependency. I'm Marshall Berkshire. I'm excited to have you here, be with you today. Before we get into day 3 and the 5-day challenge, I wanted to talk to you today about a specific concept here in self-trust. So today will be episode 6 of self-trust. We're going to be exploring the importance of trusting in the legitimacy of our reactions. So if you're new to me, I'm Marshall Berkshire, and I help codependents rediscover their well-being and their happiness by coming to trust themselves, know, love, and live who they are. So that's what I'm about. So before we get started today, I've got to get this shout out to the community here real quick. The community is a safe haven where you can come and learn how to care for yourself, get support, get tools, get guidance, and learn how to adult in the world, because that's what the community is there for, to assist you in becoming the adult that you are meant to be, which is really what we are when we exit codependency. The link is above on Facebook, below on YouTube, and if you're listening via podcast, it's on my website at freetheself.com. You just go to resources, down to the community. Also, check out the links to the rules for the community so you can understand what's expected of you in the community, as those rules design a secure and safe container for those involved, specifically because we're all survivors of trauma, so there's a lot of trauma we got to navigate, and how we communicate, how we interact with each other helps us heal and restore connection with ourselves and with others, and so the rules help us accomplish that. So check those out before you join so you know if that's an appropriate fit for you. So I'm going to get this shared out now to the group. Come here, buttons. There we go. And voila. We are here. So let me know how you're doing in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on today's episode as we get into this. Because, yeah. So, codependency, one of the first things, in abuse and neglect dynamics, one of the first things that's attacked are our reactions. Those are typically gaslit. So it goes like this. They do a thing. Person A does a thing. And then my body has a reaction to the thing they did. It said, wow, that really hurt. That's really confusing. And so I say to person A, hey, that hurt. That's really confusing. And then person A is like, wow, you're really sensitive. I mean, get over it. Deal with it. It's like, oh. See, what happened there is my reaction to their behavior was gaslit and attacked. And then they discarded it and get over it. And then they walk away. See, reactions are the first place of interaction we have with abuse and discard dynamics. Because that's what they do. We share what we're feeling. The person responds to us that way. We begin to wonder if we're crazy. We begin to wonder if what we felt was real or right or legitimate. We begin to question ourselves, especially when we have not been validated, we have not been reassured, we have not been valued in our reactions in the past, especially as a child. Because a lot of times as children, we are not seen or valued as a human being. We're just a child. They don't know better, so, they're reacting. Well, they're going to have to grow up. That kind of thing. Teaches us to disbelieve the validity and the legitimacy of our reactions. And what this does internally is it teaches us to self-doubt, to distrust what arises in our awareness. And this gets us disconnected from our sense self, meaning, what is going on in the world? What am I sensing about it? Like gut instincts, like something's off in the situation or something's off with that person. We override that, like, can't rely on that. These are not trustworthy things. So we bypass them. And when they actually turn out to be a legitimate thing that we need to pay attention to, but we've ignored it. We've ignored it because in the past, we've been criticized for it. Maybe I remember one time in my childhood, I felt off about something. Like, this is not right. This is not what. And when I put it out there, I'm like, Mom, I don't like this. This isn't right. She's like, nope, we got to go through with it. Got to deal with it. And bad things happened. And it wasn't, it turned out later on when they learned that there was abuse going on. But I was like, this person's not the right person. Not for me, not in my world, right? So we aren't just, sometimes we are deliberately attacked in our reactions. And sometimes it's just like, hey, they're not being attuned to us. They don't even know how to do it, things like that. But the end result is we have learned to distrust our own sense of reality. We're not connected to ourself. We are governing our decisions, our awareness, all of that based on someone else's perspectives, someone else's read on situations. We're externally oriented and dependent on their point of view. And this is why it's critical for us to start restoring trust in the legitimacy of our reactions. Because when we start getting in contact with those, then we can start understanding what our experiences of reality is real time. So let's define reactions. Reaction is an internal, somatic, emotional response to something. I'm not talking behaviors. I'm talking an internal awareness. Like I encounter a thing and then, anxiety. Or I'm in a situation that starts to feel off. Tuning into these kinds of internal senses and awarenesses about things around me or about myself or about another person, place, or thing. That's what I'm talking about. When we start to trust this, we start to restore our ability to actually hear ourselves and understand what we are going through. Because our reactions, our body's reactions, are our first attempt to handle a situation. It's its core reason for, hey, this is what I do. Now, sometimes these reactions will come from the past, like past traumatic events cause a reaction in us. We sometimes term those as triggers. Oh, I was triggered or activated in this thing. That's valid too. Because reactions have a valid premise, whether based in the past, the present, or what we perceive the future will bring. Now, reactions are also trying to inform us. They're trying to keep us safe and trying to keep us healthy, trying to direct our world for our safety and well-being. That's not necessarily always an accurate thing, but it is something that's worth noting and acknowledging so we can go, okay, part of me is trying to keep me safe here. I'm having anxiety. Anxiety means I don't feel safe. So what do I need to be aware of about the situation? Like assess my context first. And then if the context is safe, like I'm a safe person because I know them well and they have patterns of safety in their behavior, the situation's safe, then maybe there's something in my past that's speaking up that needs safety and care now too. See how the reaction is always legitimate? Whether it's relevant to the present context or not, it is innately legitimate. It's like, it's there for a reason. That reason may be in the past, it may be in the present, or it may be something anticipated in the future. When I respond to my reactions from this place of legitimacy and trust in their legitimacy, I'm better able to care for myself. I'm better able to respond to my boundaries. Guys, how do you know you have a boundary about something? Well, your body responds to something a certain way. It's like, no, don't want to deal with that. Or, yes, I'd like that. You're getting in tune with your yes and no impulses. This attraction, repulsion impulse that we have. That's a reaction to things. It's like, nope, don't want to do that right now. See, when we come into trusting the legitimacy of our reactions, we reconnect with our real-time boundaries. We are reconnected with our intuition, our gut instinct. We're reconnected to our brilliance, our creativity, and ultimately we start to be able to care for ourselves and the things that arise in us as we go through our day. So if anxiety or a need for safety or a need for play or a need for space or a need for rest show up, we're going to know that because we're listening to and responding to our reactions from a place of trust. That's why it's essential that we start restoring trust in our reactions and the legitimacy. Okay, I already stated that. It's essential that we restore trust in the legitimacy of our reactions so that we can acknowledge them, understand them, and then respond to them appropriately. This gets you back in your yard. This gets you aligned more with your own sovereignty, your own personal legitimacy, like you as a being are intrinsically real. You have the right to take up space, and build trust in your own awareness again. This starts undoing the impact of being gaslit, of being questioned, and of being harmed for having reactions and having awarenesses that other people didn't agree with, didn't like, thought should be different. And it gets you more attuned to your own voice, your own intuitive experience, to your own awareness of what's best for you in your world. Because that's part of being an adult, is being able to self-govern, self-direct yourself, or self-lead yourself, or become self-led in that regard. So Lila asks, Lila? If I'm right, let me know. This is what parents, caregivers didn't do so much. Yeah, they don't. And honestly, I'm not surprised, because as a parent myself, it was not something I was ever trained in. I know for a fact my parents were not, and I know theirs were not. I know that because I see how they act, and I know their history, their biography. So it's not necessarily like, oh, they failed me. It's more like, this is probably a familial, generational gap. I don't know that humans have ever been really well attuned to these things, because a lot of times humans are coming from the state of survival first, and we're not really understanding that survival is actually nurtured and promoted by being attuned to our senses. A lot of times family units. My family unit was based around obedience, and obedience requires one to completely ignore themselves because you have to conform to an external standard. So and as I grew up as a parent, becoming more effective in that, I've helped my children tune into their sense of things more as I became aware of the necessity of this as I grew up into my adult self over the years. But yeah, definitely not something that's taught frequently or regularly by parents. So what can we do today to start kindling this within ourselves? Well, the first step is to become aware of whatever your reaction is to a person, place, or thing, and to connect with that, because acknowledgement opens the gateway to then trusting it. So there's a little self-trust titration practice you can do with this, and it starts with this question: what shifts when I trust just a little bit that my reactions are legitimate and valid? So I'll state it one more time for you so you can play with it. What shifts when I trust just a little bit that my reactions are legitimate and valid? Explore that question. Notice what it brings up in your body. Sometimes people's bodies relax. They feel more calm, more centered. Sometimes they feel a little more tense or sad, or they push away from it. Whatever reaction shows up for you is legitimate and valid. So you can apply the question to those reactions. What shifts when I trust just a little bit that these reactions are legitimate and valid? See, we're aligning back with ourselves. We're creating what's called congruence, or alignment or harmony with our beingness. And this allows us to begin to acknowledge and then experience what it's like to trust ourselves in this particular area. So go out through your day, explore what this is like for you, see what it teaches you. Let's see what you discover. Also, enrollment is open for the self-trust course that starts this coming Monday. Enrollment will close for it next Friday on the 21st. So you've got about a week and a half to get enrolled. The link is above on Facebook, below on YouTube, or you can just go to enroll.freetheself.com and jump in there. We have 75 seats are allocated to it. 73 of them are open. So make sure you jump in, come join us. Because in the self-trust course, I'm going to be teaching you three things. I'm going to help you restore the legitimacy, trusting in the legitimacy of your emotions, your reactions, your senses, your sensations, your lived experience, and your intuition and gut instinct. I'm going to teach you how to restore trust in your natural completeness and your innate value, and then help you realign action and choice in your life with that self-trust, so you create deep congruency in your world. So there's currently 16 modules in the course. There's likely going to be more. So yeah, come join us there. And as well as there is enrollment is open for the Relationship Strategy Foundations course that starts in February 27th, where I'm going to teach you the foundation for creating relationships where you feel seen, loved, and valued. So that is open as well. And you can enroll in the recorded editions of the Heal Yourself Strategy and Know Yourself Strategy too. There's no live classes planned in those currently. So if you want in the live version of the Self-Trust course, this is your chance to get in on that. So again, the link's above on Facebook, below on YouTube, and on the front page of my website at www.freeself.com. So come join us, and let's bring trust alive in your world again. So go play with this tool today, guys. Let me know if you have any other questions or thoughts in the comments below, and let me know how this question impacts you. What do you discover in your world as you play with it? And follow it and see what it teaches you. So thank you again for being here for this episode of Happiness After Codependency. And I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.